Hello, I'm Dr. Cécile Cosculuela. Welcome to this ESL video on English grammar. We're working on the passive voice, and more precisely, this video is a presentation of the basic distinctions between the five voices, that is to say, the active, passive, medium, reflexive, and reciprocal voices. This title is actually the title of chapter 7 in Jean-Pierre Gabilon's Grammaire expliquée de l'anglais, which I strongly recommend that you read. So here's the first example. When I look at in the mirror, I see. So again, you know that active students are the ones who learn best. So make sure you answer the questions before I do. So here, when I look at myself in the mirror, I see myself. Now, which voice is this? Well, the image of the mirror here is here to remind us that the reflexive voice is like a mirror that reflects the image of the subject. So this is the reflexive voice. And il se regarde, which voice is this? Again, this is the reflexive voice. And how are we going to translate this sentence into English? So that's the French, that's the understanding of the sentence, the analysis that we can make of the meaning, and then we're ready to translate by they look at themselves. Now, this French sentence, il se regarde, may be understood in a different way. So we can also understand it as a reciprocal voice sentence. And in that case, the translation would be they look at each other or they look at one another, depending on whether there are two persons, in which case you use each other, or more than two persons, in which case you use one another, even though this rule is not always respected very strictly. Okay, so that's it for a basic presentation of the reflexive and reciprocal voices. Let's go on to I drive the new Volvo, an example that's in the Grammaire expliquée de l'anglais by Jean-Pierre Gabilon. So which voice is this sentence in? That's the active voice, right? And we want to turn that sentence into a passive voice sentence. So how do we do that? Well, the subject of the passive voice is what used to be the object, sorry, le complément, the object of the active voice sentence. And in this active voice sentence, the verb drive is in the present tense, and this is the symbol for the present tense. And now that we want to turn this active sentence into a passive one, we need to add the symbol, the formula for the passive voice, which is B plus VEN. So we add the symbol of the present tense to the symbol of the passive form, and we then have the formula for the verb drive that we want to insert in the passive voice sentence. Therefore, the verb form is going to be is driven, because is obviously the present tense of be followed by the past participle of the verb drive. Make sure you pronounce driven. And then the last thing, in the passive voice sentence, it is possible to mention the agent, le complément d'agent. It's not always done, but it is possible in some cases. So here, for instance, we can add the preposition by to introduce the agent, which would be me, the corresponding pronoun to the subject in the active voice sentence. Okay, so basically that's the usual way of presenting the active and passive voices. Traditionally, the examples used as the cat eats the mouse, and the mouse is eaten by the cat. And in between the active and passive voices is the middle or medium voice. And it's called the middle voice because it is indeed in the middle between the active and passive voices, because the subject of the middle voice sentence will be the same as the passive voice subject, so the nous Volvo, and then the verb in the medium voice sentence is the same as in the active voice sentence. Now you cannot say the nous Volvo drives, period. It wouldn't make sense, but there are special rules that you need to take into account. And so here, for instance, we need to add an adverb like smoothly, for instance. So the nous Volvo drives smoothly is a medium voice sentence. That's right in between the active and passive voices. How about the translation for this medium voice? Well, usually what happens is that in French, we're going to use a translation with a pronominal verb. So that would be la nouvelle Volvo se conduit with the pronoun se conduit tout en douceur. And this is very often the case to translate medium voice sentences. You use pronominal verbs in French. Okay, so basically that's the first step towards understanding what the active voice, the passive voice, and the medium voice are. Next time we'll go over be plus ven, so the passive voice among the other verb operators, in order to have a more global picture of the question of the passive voice. But that's it for this video. So thank you for your attention. I'll see you in the next video. And in the meantime, I wish you all the best.